How did it feel when you got your letter saying that you had supported your claim for an exemption, therefore owed zero tax? So this is James Kenney, one of our extremely happy clients who likes to refer clients to us. And he's going to give us a little bit of a testimonial of a really good testimonial for our great and wonderful service and so much for my stuff. So Jim, please introduce yourself, your company, kind of what you do, what your business purpose was, and then let us all know why you made the choice to go with your own aircraft as opposed to using commercial.
Sure. Thanks, Tom. My name is Jim Kenney, and I operate involved in the real estate rental business. I have some properties up in Northern California, as well as some rental properties in Las Vegas, single family as well as office, so a variety of different properties. And, I live in Los Angeles. If I were, even though we have Southwest, to go up to Northern California, it's basically a 2-hour flight from Torrance Airport, which is right next to, very close to my house. And to go to Las Vegas from there is about an hour and a half. So, via commercial, that's basically taken out an entire day to make those trips with my own plane. I can fly into much smaller, much more convenient airports, avoid the security line, and Las Vegas basically is a half-day trip, so I can go and I can visit my properties, meet with real estate agents, property managers, etc., and then be back. I can either do that in the afternoon or morning. Otherwise, it's an entire day, and sometimes you need to stay overnight. And of course, you avoid the disaster that is the Los Angeles International Airport. So, it's very convenient for me to have my own plane.
Yeah, I completely understand staying away from LAX. If I have to go to Southern California, sometimes it's easier for me to go to Ontario and drive to where I want to go than go through LAX.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you originally find Aero and Marine Tax Professionals?
When I started looking for purchasing an aircraft, one of the things that was top of mind in terms of the cost was going to be the use tax in California. And via YouTube, I started kind of doing some research on, there's always pilot sports that talk about you can do this, buy it out of state, use broker. There's lots of bad information on those boards. But via YouTube, I found a video that you had put up. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was on YouTube, where you were talking about the very specific rules surrounding the use tax in California and all the ways that you can get tripped up very easily if you are not fully familiar with the rules. And of course, advertising your services. So that was how I reached out.
So you reached out, you called me, and tell me how that interaction went for the sales process.
Well, that interaction was really, really impressive. First off, I didn't talk to a subordinate or associate. I talked directly to you. I gave you some of the parameters of my business, told you, how I involved in the rental business, and even in that discussion, you gave me some very, specific rules as to here's how you can get the use tax exemption, and here's the steps you're going to need to take. And then laid out the fact that, in your service, you obviously go through these things in great detail and manage the process for us.
So as part of our normal process, once you hire us, and then you transferred over to Julie in my office, and she took you through the delivery questionnaire to make sure that the qualifying steps were all done correctly. How did that process go for you?
Well, that process went fairly smoothly. You highlighted that where I needed to take delivery, how I needed to take delivery, the documentation I needed, and making sure that I had a detailed checklist as to what things had to happen on the actual delivery date of the aircraft, and then how I needed to pursue or fly the plane after I had taken delivery to make sure I didn't get tripped up in any way after that. So everything was very detailed, very step by step. And there were people kind of giving me feedback all along the process.
Excellent. How did the process of the whole 6-month test period go for you?
I think it went pretty straightforward because I knew exactly what was expected of me. I was keeping detailed logs. I knew when I was where I was relative to the thresholds that I needed to meet, and I also knew what type of documentation I needed to get at every stop to make sure that I wasn't going to trip any rules. So again, the whole process was very, very transparent, and I knew what to do at all points.
How did it feel when you got your letter saying that you had supported your claim for an exemption, therefore owed 0 tax?
Well, it felt great because, in reading the stories about this, there's a lot of times when something comes back and bites somebody in the butt a long time after they think they're in the clear. And so actually getting a letter from the Franchise Tax Board saying, yes, we agree that the claim is supported and we have no further action here was, I was amazed, really. The one thing I'd like to add on that was when I did get the letter, there was a stipulation from the Franchise Tax Board in there that I depreciate the airplane via my business and my CPA. And I was supposed to get a letter from the CPA saying that it was going to be depreciated. That was not something I had planned to do. And so that did throw me off a little bit. But when I queried you guys on that particular line in the exemption, you actually said you had that showed that was actually not supportable. And so that was something that really impressed me.
So when you say not supportable, what happened was we let you know that there's actually no rule that requires that you depreciate the airplane. Is that what you meant?
Correct.
Okay. I want to make sure of one thing because you keep referring to the Franchise Tax Board. It actually used to be called the Board of Equalization, but now it has a brand new name. It's called the California Department of Taxes and Fee Administration, and you'll hear people throwing around the acronym CDTFA. So just so that those of you who are watching this 2 or 3 years after it's being recorded, you'll not be confused by the statements. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I forget. I guess Franchise Tax Board is the income tax.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people do that because the income tax guys get a bunch from you also. What surprised you the most, or were you surprised that you actually got the letter from the state at the end? Were you expecting it along the way, or were you just hoping that it happened?
I can't say I was surprised because you had told me to expect it, at the end of the process, but it still felt good to get it.
Awesome. Awesome. So if you could pass on a message to the entire aircraft community about Aero and Marine Tax Professionals, what would you say to them?
I would just say, Tom, there's no artifice about what he does or what he says. He tells you exactly what needs to be done, and if you follow the instructions, you'll get your exemption. And obviously in the state of California, that's worth a lot of money.
Thank you very much. Do you recommend other people, other friends of yours, other people that you know to Aero and Marine Tax Professionals?
Absolutely. Anyone I know who would be in the process of purchasing a plane, I would definitely recommend they contact you.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to give us this wonderful testimonial. I appreciate you doing a lot.
Sure, no problem. Glad to do it.